I'm willing to give it everything I got to make it succeed. We've been $3.2 billion. Next thing I know, we're in the middle of 9/11. Biggest mistake I made. I say I've done a terrible job in making the world a better place. You really want to get there, there's only one way.
Today, we sit down with 93-year-old billionaire Larry Silverstein, the man who owns the World Trade Center in New York City. Larry's story of success is a perfect example of what we should all be striving for. He spent over 60 years building his business, has been married to the same woman for 68 years, and has lived way past the average lifespan, and is still working to this day.
I don't know what I'd do with myself if I retired.
This video is one of the funniest and most impactful that I've ever filmed. And Larry's advice that you're about to hear is worth listening to over and over again. So without further ado, let's jump into it. How old are you?
93, moving aggressively toward 94.
What does it feel like to be 93, moving aggressively towards 94?
I'm just 93 and having a good time being 93.
Would you say you feel your age? You feel younger, older?
I'm sorry?
Would you say you feel your age? Or do you feel younger, older? Yeah?
It's impossible to be 93 without feeling your age. Yeah? All kinds of aches and pains, so forth. If I told you the facts, you would never ask me the question again.
A lot of people don't reach the age that you're at, right? 93 is way above the average in the US. What would you say you've done in your life to get to 93 and still be doing what you're doing?
Work my tail off. I find working is my life. I've done it all my life. And I've had an interesting time doing it. I found that I meet all kinds of fascinating people, like yourself.
Thank you.
You get different perspectives. You get different attitudes, different value structures. It's a fascination, just talking to people, meeting people, dealing with people on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So, for example, here at the Trade Center, I've dealt with 10 zillion people in the last 23 years. All kinds of people. Some good, some great, some terrible, some not so great. Varied.
So what keeps you going is just same as what it was before. Like a lot of people would have retired by this age. You know, you're plenty busy. Retirement
for me is, I don't know what I'd do with myself if I retired. So it's, in addition to which, I have a wife we're only together 68 years. So we're getting to know each other. Huh?
Yeah.
We're thinking of getting married.
She nice? Sweet? Be a good mother?
We were married 68 years.
Yeah, I know.
And probably one of the most important things to talk about. What's the most important decision you're going to make in your life? What do you think it is?
Who you marry?
The spouse. The most important decision you make in your entire life is the spouse. Because the wrong one is a disaster. The right one is fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, I've had the right one for 68 years. Everything we've done together as a team. It's been wonderful. Absolutely. I couldn't ask for a better relationship than I have with my wife. It's been fabulous.
Yeah, you stole my line. My next question was going to be, I received an invitation from your team. In the invitation, it said you're celebrating 68 years, or maybe you just have in the next week. So you've been together since you were my age. I'm 25.
Yes.
Can you define the word love?
With great difficulty, because it accounts for so much. It covers every aspect of life, every aspect. But the feeling you have for each other, the appreciation you have of each other, the respect, the positive attitude you carry to each other, being there for each other without any equivocation whatsoever. There's never an issue, should I, shouldn't I? If it's something that is important for the family or important to your spouse, you do it. Simple. And so it's love is a conglomeration of attitudes.
Yeah.
Feelings. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's just so much that's part of it.
It's a loaded.
It's almost impossible to define.
Yeah. But 68 years, most people don't get to that point. In fact, a lot of people my age are struggling to figure out who to love, how to stay in a long-lasting relationship. So if you're looking back, how do you think that, what have been the secrets?
Well, I think one of the first things you have to do is to make sure you share core values. If you don't share them, forget it. Stop. You're never going to confuse your spouse. Or you're never going to get her to change. And she's not going to change you. You're not going to change her. Whatever it is, man. Forget it. You've got to have core values that are the same. Mm. And then you go on to perfect a life together, because that's what it's going to take. You have to respect each other, understand each other, compromise with each other, appreciate each other, be flexible with each other.
But you must have gotten in arguments and the stress and work.
Arguments. My wife and I never argue. We always discuss. There's a big difference between arguing and discussing. Huge difference. Mm. This arguing accomplishes nothing. You get angry at each other. What does that do?
Yeah.
Makes it harder.
Right.
Whereas discussing, there's always a middle ground between you and her. Mm. I tell my wife, I said, how come you're always winning?
I think that's how it works.
She said, well, maybe it's because I'm right. I said, well, in truth, looking back on 68 years, I said, I've listened to it for 68 years, and invariably, you are right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I found, with respect to family, when we married, I saw how beautifully she worked with young people. She was a teacher in the city of New York, in the public school system. Mm-hmm. And I saw how beautifully she interacted with young people. So I said, sweetheart, when we have family, you're going to be the prime decision maker. I said, we'll always discuss everything together, but you'll find I'm invariably going to listen to your recommendation. Listen to mine, I'll listen to it. But at the end of the day,
yeah.
And that's how it happened. And then when respect business, I said, trust me for those. And she said, and that's how we worked on marriage together. When it came to business issues, she relied upon me when it came to family. But we always discussed everything together.
Yeah. And I want to ask as well, there's not that many people who've achieved the success that you have. And let's say just in many regards, many respects, a lot of those people, let's say the billionaires, they have entered turmoil in their love life or certain parts of their life. But your relationship has stayed regardless of the success that you've achieved. Can you explain that? It seems like the success never got to your head, right? You stuck with the same person your whole life.
When you get to be my age, you look back.
Yeah.
So what's obvious to me is that your accomplishments in terms of monetary issues, meaningless. Number of buildings you own, you operate, you build, meaningless. Number of books you wrote, meaningless. Your net worth, forget about it. What's the most important thing you got in your life besides your spouse? Your family. That's where everything is. Your family. Nothing more important in your life than your family. Mm. So, I look back. I'm Jewish. Part of my Jewish heritage enables me to bring the family together on a Friday night. Celebrate the opportunity to be together as a family on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Celebrate the fact that we're there, focused on each other. Forget about cell phones. Get rid of them. They don't even belong on the table, right?
Right.
They're focused on each other. You talk to each other. You deal with each other. You play with each other. You have problems, you discuss them together. You try to help each other. I mean, that's the whole purpose of family, being there for each other.
And I guess most people are not thinking about that as they're living.
But it's enormously important to me, enormously important to my kids, grandkids. I have one great-grandchild now. I'm pretty thrilled.
So you were always family-oriented, I'm guessing, right?
Yes. And I look back, and I see the involvements we've had. Something that's been important to my wife, higher education. Something that's been important to me, higher education. Something that's important to my kids, higher education. I didn't tell them. They just did. The reason they did is because they saw us do. And when they saw us do, it sort of came easily to them to do similar things. So it's provided a dimension in life that's been spectacular. Because when you get involved in causes that are important to you, where you can make a difference, where you can affect people in a positive fashion, you can make the world a better place. That's your obligation. Right? We're here for a purpose. We're here, right? Create, make better, make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Right now, not very good. I think we've done I look back and I say, I've done a terrible job in making the world a better place.
I think you've done pretty well.
I would have much preferred, at 93 years of age, that the world can be at peace. It's anything but at peace. It's a tough time.
Yeah.
I have listened to more than 1,000 hours of life advice from older people, and I have learned tons of lessons, like not to have any regrets, to travel more, and to stop caring about what others think. And while all of that is nice to hear, how can you transform your life from not bad to great so that you don't wake up one day and wonder, what if? Our goal-setting journal is a fully guided journal based entirely off the more than 1,250 interviews we've conducted with people who are older and wiser and more successful. This goal-setting journal will walk you step by step through self-reflection, goal setting, and goal tracking to figure your life out, to turn your dreams into goals, and then turn those goals into your reality. I've been building, using, and refining this journal for over 5 years, and it has helped thousands of members in our community take their life to the next level. For a short time, you will also get a 30-day money-back guarantee and over $500 of exclusive bonuses by clicking the link below and grabbing a copy while the offer still lasts. So there is literally zero harm in trying.
You've brought us in here to your home away from home. I learned that you don't live too far from here. Your home away from home is the World Trade Center. For people who are listening, they don't know that. How did you come? Can you tell us the story for people who don't know about how did you come to make this your home?
Well, first of all, probably the most important person, not probably, but the most important person in my life has been my wife. So whatever we did, discussed together. When it came to buying the Trade Center, I sat with her one day, and I said, sweetheart, this is what I think I'd like to do, and why. And she said, it sounds interesting. Is there risk? I said, yes, there's plenty of risk. I told her what the risk was. Plenty of downside. I said, is there upside? I said, a ton of upside. Otherwise, I wouldn't buy it. She said, can we handle the downside if it happens? I said, yes. Will it affect the family adversely to the point where we really have problems? I said, no. So She said, well, if you feel that positively about it, you should go ahead and try to get it done. She was totally understanding.
That's a wonderful way of risk assessment. That's a
very important.
Yeah.
When it came time to 9/11, she saw me getting dressed to go to work.
You're saying the day of 9/11?
I'm sorry?
You're talking about the day of?
Yeah.
Okay.
She said, where are you going? I said, I'm going down to work. I got a breakfast meeting with one of our tenants. She said, but you can't go. I said, why can't I go? She said, you got light skin, light color hair. You got a problem. You got to go to the dermatologist. Otherwise, you've got to see him. I said, okay, I'll go next month. She said, no, you cancel the last one. You cancel the month before. You cannot cancel. You must go to the... And she got excited. She got upset. Now, when you're married for 45 years to the same person, and she gets upset, you say, okay, stop everything. The words are, yes, dear, I'll do whatever you want, but don't get upset. Don't get excited. Please. So finally she said, okay, but next thing I know, we're in the middle of 9/11. Forget about dermatologists, forget about everything, right? Different world. But in the days and weeks and months that followed, this is probably the most tense time in my life. The pressures were huge. Among the crazy things, on January 25 of 2001, there were 5 days left before the best and final offers were due on the Trade Center. And at that time, 5 days left, there were only 3 bidders. 2 huge public companies, and me, tiny private owner. They were huge, they were monsters, right? Public companies, thousands of stockholders, billions. And there was me, private company. People said, Silverstein, forget it, you'll never make it. I knew something that they didn't know, however. Knowing as a private company, there were things I could do they couldn't do. As a public company, they had limitations. I didn't have any limitations. I could do whatever I felt was right to do. So people said, why are you even involved? I said, because I might have a shot at this. I said, they're so big, they're so important, public company. Come on, you're wasting your time. Did I listen to them? No. I did what I thought was right.
What's the takeaway
I'm sorry?
What is the takeaway in that case with the story you just said? Like if you
had
apply that as a life lesson.
The takeaway is know as best you can the circumstances surrounding what you're about to accomplish, what you're trying to accomplish. And I learned that being a public company had many advantages, also had a ton of disadvantages. And the ton of disadvantages were you could not do a lot of things that as a private company you could do. And by golly, for this kind of purchase, made all the difference in the world. So on the 25th of January, we went to a real estate focused dinner. Everybody was there who was involved in the Trade Center bidding. All the players, till the 3 of us, the public companies, they had 25 people easily in that room. Another 20, maybe 30 people. And there was us, 4 or 5 guys. And the conversation you hear. Everybody's, who's going to win? Who's the bid? What's the bid? Everybody's looking, thinking, what's going to happen? Because 5 days left. So we finished dinner. Our host gave us each a bottle of wine that he developed on his vineyard. He has a vineyard in California. So he gave us each a bottle of wine from his vineyard. And I already said to my driver, go home. You got a wife and kids, I'll walk home. Madison Avenue, I go, easy, $10, go ahead, go home. Big mistake I made by sending him home and walking home. Because as I went to walk home, I got to 57th Street and Madison Avenue, green light, I crossed the street. The car came out of nowhere. Drunk driver, slammed into me, broke my pelvis in 11 places. I thought I was going to die. The pain was excruciating. I lied there. I just said to myself, I can't survive. I mean, just how to survive this. But then I heard people say, don't move, an ambulance is coming. Then I heard other people say, he slammed into him, he hit him. I was unconscious, half conscious. Got to the hospital. I said, please give me morphine to kill the pain. They gave me morphine. Enough to kill the pain, which is excruciating. 3 days later, now the 28th of January, I woke up. Morphine killed the pain. So I was reasonably stable. They told me you're very lucky. The 11 breaks in your pelvis were clean, which meant you don't need surgery. It'll just heal by itself. I said, that's terrific. Then I said, what day is it? They said, it's 28th of January. I said, 28th? I got 2 days left. I said, give me a conference room. Give me telephones. I got to get my people in here right away and kill the morphine. She said, you can't kill the morphine. You'll die. I said, I killed the morphine. I got a couple of $1 million invested in this goddamn deal. I got to keep going. Kill the morphine. She killed the morphine. The pain was... In any event, got all our guys together. We finished. We framed the last bid. We bid $3.2 billion. The high bidder was $3.25 billion. And the low bidder was $3.15 billion. So I was right in the middle. $50 million separating me from the high and me from the low. Now, $50 million, a lot of money. But for this product, for this acquisition, it was a rounding error. Mm-hmm. Right? It was $3.2 billion.
Right, at that point.
It sounds crazy, I know, but it's a rounding error.
At that point, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You probably look at us like we're crazy, which we are. In any event, as it turns out, the high bidder was a public company. He was given 21 days to complete the acquisition. 18 days later, I get a call. Are you still interested in the Trade Center? I said, why do you ask? I said, you got a deal going. He said, we're not going to make the deal. He's got problems. He's a public company. He's running into problems.
Yeah.
He can't make the deal. Are you interested? So we ended up with the deal as a private company, as the guy who never had a chance to make it.
I want to ask on that exact point. So you're small fish in the pond going up against two big boys. In most cases, most people would think they don't have a chance. In your case, you always thought you had a chance. So what do you think is the reason why? And I guess we can apply this to life in a lot of ways. If you're going up against the impossible, how do you make it believable or achievable? Why do you think that you were able to lock that in?
Because subsequent examination showed, well, the man who was heading the public company to buy it, he called me. I called him. I said, they're telling me you're not going to make the deal. What's going on?
Yeah.
He said, we can. He said, we're a public company. The things they want us to do, we cannot do. I said, like what? He told me. I said, I could do those things. No problem.
Yeah.
Simple. So he said, I'm out of it. I said, okay.
Yeah.
We could do it. We did it.
Yeah. So if I'm watching this and I'm younger, let's say myself, I'm 25. Let's say I want to have the type of success that you've achieved. How would you recommend I do that? What is your sort of recipe for achieving great measures of success?
Well, success is measured in many, many ways, right? First, after analyzing the opportunity to acquire the Trade Center, I concluded that there was enormous upside. Was there significant downside? Yes. But I felt the amount of upside was so great, I could take that risk. I could take that chance. Then the question is, how do you go about doing it? So first you have to be prepared to spend significant amounts of money to be able to spend the time analyzing all aspects of the transaction. Thousands of leases, right, for 10 million feet of space. You got to read each one of those leases. Somebody's got to read it. Somebody's got to become involved in it. Lawyers, tons of lawyers. Lawyers, right? Because it's such a lot. Right? $3.2 billion, lots of lawyers. And they got to be paid. So it was a huge experience, taking enormous amounts of expertise on the part of the lawyers, right? Expertise on our part also, right? How much risk was I willing to take when it came to legal issues? All kinds of legal issues, right? So these are all discussions, they're all evaluations, they're all decisions that have to be made on the spot. So your ability to do all of this requires a good deal of experience. By that time, I was 70 years of age, had a lot of experience in the business. If I didn't have that experience, I couldn't have done it. But with that experience, I was able to do it. I had expert lawyers working with me, right, who were close to me. We'd done a number of things in our lives together. So people you could depend upon were there helping you.
Yeah. A lot of people are, now social media and instant gratification is just running wild. People want to be rich fast, successful fast, get abs fast, everything fast. So for you, it's been a long journey, right? The successes have kind of come and come and come. So I guess it's a matter of patience as well.
It's not only patience, it's a willingness to invest a significant amount of time, effort, energy, and money. And I look back on my life. Whatever I accomplished, brick by brick by brick by brick, year by year by year by year. Fast? No way. I couldn't do it.
So what do you say to someone who is always thinking fast?
I tell them, good luck. Simple. I know I couldn't do it. It took me 50, 60, 65 years of hard work.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you didn't come in on Sunday, don't bother coming in on Monday.
Right.
You had to work. There was no other way.
Yeah. You've reached billionaire status. What is the difference between someone who's reached billionaire status versus someone who reaches multi-million or million? How do you get to that higher level? What are some things that you think you've done that most haven't?
The only way can think of getting to a high level, work your ass off. There's no other way. There's no other way that I know.
Yeah. So people looking for secrets, there are no secrets.
All that says, God bless them. Simple.
I get that. So a lot of people look back on life and they say, well, I wish I would have known this sooner. I wish I would have done this sooner. I wish I would have had this life lesson. What is a truth about life that you've learned that you wish more people understood?
Well, one of the things you learn is by doing. You're going to make mistakes. Learn by those mistakes. Don't be stupid enough to just do the same dumb thing a second or a third time. If you make a mistake, learn by it.
Yeah.
And pretty easy to know pretty damn fast if you made it a good move or a bad move. Whatever it is, learn by that bad move. Change your attitude. Change your approach. Whatever it takes. Don't do the same dumb thing twice.
Yeah. And to that point, what is a big mistake that you've made or a big regret you have that you learned a valuable lesson from?
Oh, there were scores of them. Man, I can think of many buildings I could have bought, should have bought, didn't buy. Then again, I say to myself, thank God for the buildings I did buy. Of course, they went well, pretty well. Not all, but most of them. Right? But there were many others I wanted to buy, tried to buy, and couldn't buy.
Yeah.
Outbid sometimes, just outbidding.
Yeah. That's the way life goes.
Yeah, that's why life is, right?
If you're looking back, what is one thing that you spent a lot of time worrying about when you were younger, and as you got older, you realized it wasn't actually that important?
I think I look back and I realize stress is supposed to be a terrible thing for you. All kinds of medical things tell you stress is bad. I live my life on stress. Stress all the time. I look up, I say to people, doctors tell me stress is bad. I said, I'm 93. I live my life with stress. I said, how can I account for it? They said, well, you're different.
Yeah.
Hello. I think the things that gave me the most stress, the tough stress, health issues within the family. When someone gets sick, stuff really begins to happen.
Yeah.
Right? That's the most critical issue. Illness within the family.
Yeah.
Because then everything else stops. You focus together on how to make this better.
Right. My last question for you. If you could go back in time, knowing what you know today, and give your younger self, let's say your 25-year-old self, one piece of advice, what would you say to him?
Be prepared for whatever it is you'd like to do or you want to do with your life. Make sure you're focused on it properly. Make sure you get it the time and attention it deserves to enable you to say, this is, with confidence and intelligence, this is what I want to do, and this is how I expect to do it. And then be prepared to say to yourself, I'm willing to give it everything I got to make it succeed. Because you can't do life halfway. It doesn't work. If you really want to get, you really want to accomplish, you really want to get there, there's only one way. Give it everything you got. Work your tail off to make it happen. But also, give it the pre-thought. Give it the analysis before the fact. So that you're at least doing something that's intelligent, that's viable, that's workable, that can be accomplished. And then work your tail off to get it done. But the most important thing is your family.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Guys, it's one thing to listen to the advice that you're hearing in this conversation, but are you taking action on it? We've created a free newsletter that shares the stories, life advice, and actionable strategies to live your most fulfilling life from over 1,257 older people twice a week, every week for free. This newsletter is made for you if you are afraid of growing old and having regrets that you did not live the life that you should have, because you're going to learn decades and decades of real lessons and experiences from those who have been through life and are reflecting on what makes it great. Now, because you're listening to this episode, we are giving away $250 of free bonus self-reflection exercises and masterminds taught by over 1,000 different older, wiser, and successful people. You can join totally for free by clicking the link in our description or scanning the QR code that is on this screen to join today.